I'm back. Season 2 ratings weren't as high as the network was hoping for, so they've cancelled it. I'd say it's gone too soon. We never even made it to the farm arc, mo-capped kaiju fight, or the live-action remake, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It was out of our hands, so I'm home. Season 3 is beginning now. No huge video for this one. We blew our budget for the Season 2 pilot. But I think it was worth it because Season 2, while it may have been short-lived, I think the star that burns brightest burns out quickest, as I've said 3 times this week. And I think it'll be looked upon fondly in the grand scheme of this program. Kind of like Season 2 of The Walking Dead. I think people will look at Season 2 of Charles and say, the writers weren't afraid to take risks. And was he even there in the first place, or was it all AI? You know what? I think the question probably boils down to what the fuck was Season 2? And that's a difficult question to answer because it depends on who you ask. Right now it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, but there's a handful of critics still scratching their heads trying to figure out, well, what was this journey we went on? And what does it all mean? So I'll do my best to break it down for you. Just like getting an I love you from a stripper, it was meaningless. You see, Season 2 was an offhanded joke Aaron made one time right before we were filming something at the warehouse. I don't even remember what we were filming, but Aaron said after this, it's probably like a tier list, and he said, like, when we're done with this, we should announce Season 2 of your channel. The first 18 years was just Season 1. And we all really liked that idea so much that we decided to go kind of hog wild with it. So we made that video announcing, all the casting changes, just playing off of that trope where every character gets replaced and shit. And we actually had even bigger ideas for it, but unfortunately we kind of got kneecapped by the fires in California. Even God didn't want Season 2 to reach its full potential. But we had some crazy celebrity guest appearances that we had lined up for the, huge cast reveal type thing. And we initially really wanted to commit to it to stockpile 10 or 12 videos to last X amount of time and actually have T-Pain do streams here for a little bit to actually convince people, oh, this might be something serious. I don't think anyone would ever actually fall for it. Wow, T-Pain just replaced Charlie. But just kind of to plant that seed of doubt, well, what if he did? But unfortunately, T-Pain is a very busy man, so we weren't able to do that. And I actually think that's better, because I like the idea that Season 2 had one episode and immediately got canned. Which is some shit Netflix would probably pull if, Season 2 of Charlie hit that platform. Now, interestingly enough, T-Pain did actually film an additional video here in my swamp. But I decided not to post it just for the sake of having one episode and that be it for Season 2. Though I was thinking about maybe posting it eventually as some kind of the lost tapes of Season 2 type shit if we ever try and play off of this dumb concept again for whatever reason. Like how SpongeBob had that huge event way back in the day, and Patchy the Pirate and friends are like, we've got to find the lost tapes, laddies! Patchy didn't talk like that, but... And then they had that huge thing with, the SpongeBob fucking forgotten treasure, the one piece of SpongeBob. And then it was kind of just a normal episode. So yeah, be ready for that hot drop at some point when you least expect it. But anyway, at the core, Season 2 was just nothing. Actually nothing. Legitimately, it was the friends we made along the way. It was just a really fun experiment. And I guess, actually, it was something. Because what I want to do more of is shit like that, just taking a stupid idea and just going all in on it, just because it's so much fun to do. But hey, that's the beauty of Season 2. A little bit of the magic that led to a phenomenon that was more confusing than when IHOP rebranded itself to IHOB. And even though Season 2 was utterly meaningless, the epitome of a nothing burger really, it was still very special. Ray William Johnson coming out really meant something to me, man. Ray William Johnson is the most important man in my life next to my father. And I'd never met him before. Ray William Johnson, that is. I've met my dad. In fact, I've known that motherfucker for as long as I can remember. But Ray William Johnson, he'd always been this enigmatic presence in my life. This being who actually changed the entire trajectory of my time on this corporeal plane. 15 years ago, he covered my Q-Op video on his channel when he was the biggest on YouTube with equals 3. And overnight, it changed my whole universe. It was a second birth for me. But instead of being covered in amniotic fluid, instead this time, I was covered in passion. And I'd never met him until he came out to do this. We'd never exchanged any emails or DMs, no communication in any way, shape, or form until he arrived in person to the set. And it was just kind of cool to be able to talk to the guy that really did change my life. Like, he gave me the lucky break. And overall, everyone that participated in this, like, it was so much fun. Like, T-Pain I had talked to before, we had streamed together before, but actually meeting him in person, and really his whole team that came with him, they were just amazing. Iron Mouse agreeing to do it as well was a nice cherry on top, because that was super fun. We'd only talked like once or twice in DMs before. Neil Blomkamp agreeing to be the director of Season 2 for the video was also just fucking incredible. I have gushing grannies over his work on... Wow, that was a hard sentence to string together. I have admired Neil Blomkamp's work since he did the Halo 3 live action short. I have followed everything he's done from that, District 9, Chappie, even recently Gran Turismo. Like, having Neil Blomkamp say yes to being the director, I thought was so fucking cool. And, like, everyone that came out for this, I really enjoyed. The orchestra that put 2019 Guy to strings, what a beautiful fucking symphony. Like, that shit, that should be winning Grammys. That's up there with some of Bach's best pieces. Just a huge thanks to everyone involved. Antron and Jordan you might have seen before. Jordan's been on quite a few videos on the other channel, and Antron's been on a few videos here. They're friends of ours, and they were nice enough to come out and do this on a very short notice. And keep in mind, this wasn't even its final form. At one point, we had a birthday magician lined up who was going to do a bunch of, like, illusions, David Copperfield style, to, you know, reveal T-Pain is me. We had Matt Mercer, who was lined up to replace Matt, but then the California fires obviously made that impossible. So, Matt, I'll explain that Matt being the aspiring Blue Man Group performer. Well, when Matt Mercer couldn't make it, I reached out to the Blue Man Group because they're somewhat local. They're not far from Tampa. At least, you know, one branch of the Blue Man Group is. I don't exactly know how the Blue Man organization works per se, but they have agents in Orlando. So I reached out to them, and they were down to just come play Matt. But the timing didn't work out, and we had already locked in a shooting date, and we were starting to scramble for time a little bit here, because that's not exactly something flexible. There were so many moving parts, we couldn't just move it. It was a hard date, and you can't go flaccid on it, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. So Matt just said, fuck it, I'll do it live. I'll just be a Blue Man performer, which ultimately doesn't make any fucking sense at all, because he didn't even get replaced. We just changed his skin color in what I imagine would be very offensive to Smurfs. But Season 2 doesn't care about your fucking feelings. It came in there with the gloves off. It was some hard-hitting shit, that premiere. Man, R.I.P. to Season 2, but what a premiere, am I right? That pilot. Woof! Hooey! Anyway, though, I just wanted to kind of just come out here and explain this a little bit, because I saw a lot of people theorizing that all of this was just, you know, fun. But it was because I was going on vacation and I wanted to do like a little fun send-off for like a week or two vacation. No, not the case. There really was no reason for it at all. Not going on vacation or anything. We just dropped this just to do it, with no greater purpose in mind, even slightly. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.